Good evening, everybody, and welcome. For those of you who are joining us on our live stream, and for those of you who are with us on our Zoom call, a special Shabbat Shalom to you all. We're so thankful to our members of the Cape Cod Synagogue for your ongoing support, friendship, and your Jewish values, supporting us and making us a center of Jewish life on Cape Cod. If you're not yet a member of the congregation, I'd invite you to find out more about it at capeCodSynagogue.org. We're going to be trying something a little bit different tonight with our worship, as you see already, that the liturgy will be right on screen for you. So you don't have to flip pages until we get to the Amidah. So we're going to have this whole first section of it and see how it goes. Jennifer, take it away. We begin with Yedid Nefesh. You got to unmute yourself, John. We continue with the lighting of our Shabbat candles, and I realize that I don't think you're able to see somebody else while I am sharing our slides. Unfortunate, but I do want to call on. I want to call on Cheryl Stott from our community to light our Shabbat candles. I'm actually going to spotlight her and stop this share for a moment. Give me 1 second, and I'm going to. And
this is a prayer from a new publication by CCAR, Mishkan Ga'ava, for lighting of candles. Creator of light, source of wisdom, you know the depth of the human soul. As you filled this world with the glance of your presence, so let me fill my world with the calm wisdom that love does not ask what, but instead asks whom. May we, as we watch the two flames of memory and practice, enlighten this space, remember all parts of our stories, and make space for all that we are. Creator of light, source of wisdom, may your light fill every inch of our bodies, and may it exceed all forms. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen.
We continue with our Shabbat evening Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'cha ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha Yahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
L'chaim.
L'chaim.
We welcome the Sabbath bride with the words of Lecha Dodi.
מחשבת בעמק הבכה, והוא יכול עלייך התעוררי, כי באורך קומי, אורי, 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 שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה, אוהי ושלום עצרת בעלה. קם בשמחה ובצעד תוך אמוני, עם סגולה בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת נקבלה.
I invite you to a few moments now as we reflect on this last week and we welcome into our hearts a sense of peace, rest, and blessing on this holy day of Shabbat. A thought for this week from Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel. Jewish existence is not only the adherence to particular doctrines and observances, but primarily living in the spiritual order of the Jewish people, living in the Jews of the past and with the Jews of the present. It is not only a certain quality in the souls of the individuals, but primarily the existence of the community of Israel. It is neither an experience nor a creed, neither the possession of psychic traits, not the acceptance of a theological doctrine, but the living in a holy dimension, in a spiritual order. Our share in the holiness we acquire by living in the Jewish community. What we do as individuals is a trivial episode. What we attain as Israel causes us to grow into the infinite. Okay, I think Jennifer should be back with us now, hopefully. She was having some problems with her internet connection. I know she would like to help lead this next part of the service, too. But if she's not available, we'll move on. Oh. Yitgadal v'yitkadash merabah be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon uvyomechon uvchayedecho beit Yisrael bagala bagala ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevarach Le'alam U'Lalmei Alma.
Almaya Yitbarach Yitbarach Vishtabach Vitpa'ar Vitrama Vitnaser Vitadar Vitale Vital Shemede Kudia
Brichu.
Le'ela min kol tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran b'yama v'imiru. Amen.
Amen. We continue with Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamevorach.
Baruch
Baruch
Adonai
Adonai Hamevorach
Hamavorach
Le'olam
Le'olam
Ba'ed.
Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Le'olam Ba'ed.
Okay. We're trying. Okay. It seems to be broken, folks. I tried. All right. We're going to have to go back to the book. Apparently, the technology is not working for us today. That's all right. We have those too. For those of you who are following along in the Mishkan Tefillah, you can find us on page 147. Adonai, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom. Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish. But your sovereignty endures. Though all things pass, let not your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim. In each age, we receive and transmit Torah. At each moment, we are addressed by the world. In each age, we are challenged by our ancient teaching. At each moment, we stand face to face with our truth. In each age, we add our wisdom to that which has gone before. At each moment, the knowing heart is filled with wonder. In each age, the children of Torah become its builders and seek to set the world firm on a foundation of truth. Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael. The words of the Shema begin on page 149. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha
בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all. Yet that oneness eludes our grasp as imperfection and evil abound. Before our eyes there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness. There is evil enough to break the heart, and there is good enough to exalt the soul. When will redemption come? When we grant for everyone what we claim for ourselves. Long ago we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High. We learned God's presence redeems time and event. So we celebrate this power that makes for freedom. Mi Chamocha on page 152.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. מלכותך ראו בניך, אוקיי הים לפני משה, זה אלי אנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
At the bottom of page 153, Hapores Sukkot Shalom.
Baruch ata Adonai, hapurei Sukkot Shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael.
Vishamru V'nei Yisrael on page 154.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לתורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לתורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, הוציא לי עולם, הוציא לי עולם, הוציא לי עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לתורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לדורותם ברית עולם.
We begin our Shabbat evening Amidah on page 155 with our intention.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chaste Avot V'Imahot, U'Mevii Geula Livnei V'neihem, Le'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Michayei metim atarav lehoshia. Michalkei al chayim bechesed, Michayei metim berachamim rabim. Somech noflim v'rofei cholim, Umatir asurim. Umekayem emunato lishenei afar, michamocha ba'al gevurot umido melach, melech memit umechaye umatmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman ata lehachayot metim. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hametim. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
On page 160, our God and God of our ancestors, be pleased with our rest. Sanctify us with your mitzvot and grant us a share in your Torah. Satisfy us with your goodness and gladden us with your salvation. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Adonai our God, grant as our heritage your holy Shabbat, that Israel who sanctifies your name may rest on it. Praise to you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, Mikadesh HaShabbat.
Amen.
Be gracious, Adonai, our God, to your people Israel, and receive our prayers with love. O may our worship always be acceptable to you. Fill us with the knowledge that you are near to all who seek you in truth. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu. Ya'alev yavo v'yizacher zichronenu v'zichron kol amcha beit Yisrael lefanecha l'tova, l'chein, u'lechesed, u'lrachamim, l'chayim u'lshalom, bayom rosh hachodesh hazeh, zochrenu Adonai bo l'tova, u'fokdenu vo livracha, v'hoshi'enu vo l'chayim. On this first day of the month of Adar, our God and God of our fathers and our mothers, be truly mindful of us and all your people Israel on this first day of the new month, and renew in us love and compassion, goodness, life, and peace. This day remember us for well-being. This day bless us with your nearness.
Amen.
This day help us to a fuller life. And we say, Amen. Mishanichnas ladar.
נכנס אדר. נכנס אדר. נכנס אדר מרבים בשמחה. נכנס אדר מרבים בשמחה.
For the good in us which calls us to a better life, we give thanks. For the strength to improve the world with our hearts and our hands, we offer praise. For the desire in us which leads us to work for peace, we are grateful. For life and nature, harmony and beauty, for the hope of tomorrow, all praise to the source of being. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai, your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. Shalom Rav, may there be great peace upon Israel, your people. Page 164.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom v'tov be'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך.
We take some quiet moments for the prayers of our hearts this Shabbat evening.
הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. שבת אחים גם יחד. שבת אחים גם יחד.
Thank you, Jen. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. We find ourselves this week in Parshat Mishpatim. Mishpatim literally means laws, but specifically the kinds of laws that would be settled in a court with due process. It's strange how the Torah portion so often lines up with what's going on in our world. These laws cover all branches, or all areas, I should say, both criminal and civil proceedings, including a remarkably nuanced branch of laws dealing with negligence, which still impresses the modern reader. Jewish tradition sees that the establishment of courts is so central to human society and so central to anybody's pursuit of righteousness and goodness that it's required of all peoples, not just of Jews. In our Talmud, in Masechet Sanhedrin, we read of the Noahide laws, that is, those laws that are commanded upon the descendants of everyone who came forth from the ark, commanded by God to all people. Those who fulfill them are deemed in Jewish tradition to be just as worthy of Olam Haba, the world to come, as the most pious Jew. There are only 7 in number. First is to reject idolatry. Second is to reject blasphemy against God. Third, to reject murder. Fourth, not to commit acts of sexual immorality. Fifth, to not steal. Sixth is to avoid cruelty to animals, phrased in these laws as eating flesh torn from a living animal. And seventh, to establish courts of justice. Establishing courts of justice is essential to who we are as human beings. It's no accident that so many Jews are prominent attorneys and legal theorists. And so it was strange to see and hear what unfolded in our nation's capital this week, as everyone pursued justice as they at least saw it. Our Senate sat as both judges and jurors, and while unusual in American tradition, that's just the way that a Jewish court, a Beit Din, would meet, or even the Sanhedrin of old. Judge and juror all together. There they sat, the men and women of our Senate, hearing evidence, evaluating competing narratives, and even weighing opposing theories of relevant laws. All of this happened this week. But for all that, I can't help but wonder if this type of court can truly live up to the name of justice. As with every impeachment proceeding in our nation's history, the senators, more or less, have their minds made up before the trial even started. That doesn't sound much like justice to me. Could you imagine facing a judge or a jury when your life and your reputation was on the line, and all the while knowing that it didn't matter what arguments were made or evidence presented, the outcome was predetermined? We certainly wouldn't stand for it in a courtroom that saw over our fate. But now, in one of our most hallowed bodies, we've come to expect it. More than anything, it's just very sad. Now, none of us here are senators, so we don't get a voice as to what goes down. But I think we can justly demand and expect a little bit more from our representatives in Washington. Our system was not designed or created to privilege partisan loyalties above national priorities, but this is more or less what we have by default. I don't have any easy answers about the correctness of how an impeachment should go or what the proper outcome should be for a former president, people who are much more learned in these areas than I do. But I do know what a proper trial is supposed to look like, at least according to Jewish tradition. And this isn't it. The Torah demands courts of justice, not only from us, but from all people. Narrow self-interests cannot guide the way to justice. I need think only of Moses at Sinai, the earth quaking, the sound of the shofar, the top of the mountain on fire, and the voice, the thundering call coming out from Sinai to all people to pursue justice. That voice still echoes today and waits only for all of us to pay attention to it. Shabbat Shalom. Our thoughts turn to our loved ones in need of healing. We think of these members of our community and those who are part of our larger family this evening in our prayers. Malka Freda Bat Fega Brucha, Mary Ellen Harvey, Wally Mahoney, Don White, Wolfie, Janice Smith, Amy Fiorino, Sarah Bat Bracha Leah, Lucas Vincent, Mechama Basha Bat Elka, Leah, Harav Ruvain Shlomo Ben Leah, Megan Bat Florence Ve'ema, Suzanne and Bob Kittredge, Chana Bat Bracha, Heather Strauss, Kathy Gigante Brown, Cinia Pinchback, Evelyn Payne, Thomas Potter, Carol, Gloria Fitz, Steve Sugarman, David Cutler, Ronald Montacone Jr., the Garrison family, Myra Vachon, Paul Reese, Andre Hari Gutter, Shia Ben Shmuel, Len Jaffe, Ava Stein, Evelyn Silver, Kathy Leonard, Isaac Clayman, Jerry Gerhard, Harriet Aronson, Bryna Curley, Stephen Silverstein, Mary Jane Bush, Marie Gellin, Robert Arnowit, Violet Lavender, Nate Ladley, Michael Melinek, Kristen Walsh, Avram Ben-Zlata, Blanca Diskar, David Murad, Rose Moskowitz, Nathan Dankin. Jen, if you could unmute.
Ana Elna, Ana Elna, Ana Elna Refanala, Ana Elna, Ana Elna, Ana Elna Refanala for healing. Ana Elna, Ana Elna, Ana Elna Refanala, Ana Elna, Ana Elna, Ana Elna Refanala.
May God send blessing and healing to all who are in need. And we say, Amen.
Amen.
Our worship continues with Aleinu, which can be found on page 282.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו אחד.
We turn to page 294 and the words of Kaddish as we remember our loved ones whose yahrzeits occur in this week. We remember Robert Adams, Morris Dickens, Miriam Furman, Dora Grossberg, Sonny Jendrick, Lena Levine, Irving Ringler, Anna Scheinkopf, Molly Siegel, Norma Solomon, Alfred Weber. If there are others whom we should remember, please share their names across the chat function. Yitgadal, Yitkadash Shemei Rabbah,
Amen.
Be'alman Divra Chirute, V'amlich Malchute, B'chayechon Uvyomechon, V'chaye Dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala V'zman Kari V'yemru Amen.
Amen.
Yehe Shemei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam L'almei Almaya. Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitramam V'yitnaseh. V'yithadar V'yitale V'yithalal Shemei Dukudisha Barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen.
Amen.
Yehe shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh Shalom Bimromav. Huyaseh Shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru.
Amen.
Amen. May God, who causes peace to reign in the heavens above, bring a measure of that peace and comfort to all who grieve. And we say,
Amen.
Amen. It's my pleasure to call on our president, Jennifer Rako.
Hello, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you,
Shabbat
Rabbi.
shalom.
Thank you, Jennifer. Nice to see everyone this evening. I see a few new people, which is nice. And of course, I never know who's out there in the live stream, but I hope that you're all staying safe and healthy. I know some people are starting to get vaccinated, and that's wonderful. I just want to give a little bit of a few announcements for the upcoming week. It's still another kind of standard week, but we have some exciting things coming up, and I'll just start to talk about those a little bit tonight and then more next week. So evening Shabbat services, you're all here. For those of you on Zoom, you can use the same link that you received to get here to join the rabbi tomorrow morning for Shabbat morning services with Torah study. That's at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. And then I have my weekly office hours on Tuesday. Join Jen at 10. There's a reminder that goes out by Zoom every week, but it's the same link. So if you've ever joined me, feel free to do so again. It's always nice to see people there. I am looking forward to when we'll be back at 145 Winter Street and I'll be able to see people in person, but we're not quite there yet. And then Thursday, every week, Torah study, the rabbi sends his link the day before, and that's at 11:30 on Thursdays. And I want to just point out that we'll have, of course, Friday night Shabbat next week, but Saturday, the 20th, so a week from tomorrow, there will be a Havdalah service. It was very popular last month, so we're doing that every month, and we hope that we'll see you there. It'll be 6:30, and there'll be a Zoom link like always. That'll probably come out the day before as well. And I'll remind you next Friday too. And there will be, of course, some very interesting and fun things for Purim that are coming up. If you have the February bulletin, you probably already saw a little bit about that, and we're really excited. So I hope people will join us for that. And there's also going to be a big event on the 28th at 2 o'clock that you should have received information about in the bulletin, which you'll hear more about soon. And we're very excited about that too, put on by Ways and Means, but there's not going to be any charge. It's just for all our members to have fun for an hour on a Sunday afternoon. So please continue to stay safe. I know I say it all the time, but it's really true. I mean, I think a lot of people are feeling really tired of being home alone and tired of being careful, but you just have to stick with it, even if you've had your vaccine, please. Okay, so anyway, nice to see you all. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
We turn to page 321 for our closing song tonight, which is Adon Olam.
Adon olam, asher malach, b'terem kol yitzir nivra, le'et nasa b'chefso kol, ha'azai melech shemo nikra, ve'acharei kichlot hakol, levado yimloch nora, vehu haya, vehu over, vehu yeh b'tifara, vehu echad ve'ein sheni, lehamshilo lehachbira, v'li reshit v'li tachlit, ve'lo ha'oz ve'hamizrach, vehu eli v'chai goali, v'tzor chevli be'et zara, vehu nisi manos li, minakosi be'om ekra. Shivati Adonai li velo ira Adonai li velo ira.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. We're going to say goodbye to those who are joining us on our streaming media. For those of you who are in our Zoom conference, hang on one second and we'll be able to chat. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.